Kobe, what were your impressions of Wemby?
Obviously, he's really like freaking good at basketball.
Unbelievable talent. Everybody knows that, and just trying to figure out what he is.
He's just too long, and he's too skilled. He just plays over top of you.
He did something where like he was under the rim, he caught it mid-air, and then like just guided, dunked it into the rim.
Wemby! Yes, sir!
Oh my God.
Victor Wembanyama is destined to be a superstar, and everyone seems to know that. Well, except for his teammates.
Oh, they missed a lot on Wemby. They're looking for Wembanyama on the cut. They cut off Sohan. Misses badly. Yeah, that was terrible.
But we'll get to that. This channel is close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and thank you. Upon winning the draft lottery and securing Victor Wembanyama as the #1 overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs made their intentions clear. They would continue to rebuild. Although Wembanyama has appeared promising as a 19-year-old rookie, the Spurs prioritize maximizing his skill set for long-term development. Additionally, it seems that the Spurs are aiming to acquire another high lottery pick from the 2024 NBA draft. Wembanyama and his team have had their ups and downs this season, but mostly downs. They have been at the bottom of their conference for the majority of the season, and if it weren't for a historic losing streak in Detroit, the Spurs' failures might be more of a focus across mainstream sports debates and social media.
After tomorrow night, I no longer get to hear about Victor Wembanyama.
In a recent game, the San Antonio Spurs suffered a 114-95 loss against the Chicago Bulls, marking another step in their descent down the Western Conference standings. Following that loss, their record was 4-23, and things were looking gloomy in San Antonio. But maybe things aren't as bad as they seem. It's important to remember that the Spurs have made it clear that they are deliberately choosing to emphasize development over immediate victories this season. As the youngest team in the NBA, with an average player age of 23.5 years old, the Spurs recognize that to harness a generational talent like Wemby, the other young players around him will provide additional challenges, and each young player has significant room for growth. The most blaring evidence of the Spurs' developmental efforts, besides Wembanyama of course, is with the ongoing experimentation with the point guard position. Greg Popovich is renowned as an all-time great coach, but the decision has drawn some scrutiny towards the 74-year-old. Popovich has opted to bench the somewhat established lead guard Trey Jones, in favor of assigning most of the facilitating responsibilities to the second-year forward Jeremy Sohan. Standing at 6'9", Sohan entered the league with a recognized ability as a playmaker, well, at least for his position, and his designated position was never the point guard. Sohan has clearly shown this season that his instincts at the point guard position are not there, at least not yet. This tactical shift has placed Wembanyama in a situation where he must primarily generate his own offense, given the challenges his teammates face in getting him the ball, a challenge that Spurs fans will testify to happens night in and night out. Look at these back-to-back Spurs possessions in Chicago. After a screen, Wembanyama successfully backdoors the defender, opening a clear alley-oop opportunity. Sohan, who is being guarded by DeMar DeRozan, has plenty of space to throw the ball to Wemby in the paint, and the only defender that will contest the dunk is Kobe White, who is nearly a foot shorter than Wembanyama. But instead, Sohan does this.
They're looking for Wembanyama on the cut. They cut off Sohan. Misses.
But it gets even worse. After a solid shot contest on the other end by the rookie, Wembanyama then runs the floor to establish position for the Spurs in transition. When Keldon Johnson secures the ball, Wemby has clear position on DeRozan, the Bulls shooting guard, another clear mismatch and favorable positioning for Wembanyama. At this point, the Bulls' two big men have just crossed half court. With a simple lob over the top, the Spurs have an easy bucket. But of course, Johnson goes for a contested layup. And even for the Bulls broadcasters, the problem is obvious.
Brandon missed him too.
I don't know how you miss a 7'4" guy.
Yeah, how do you exactly
I just
not
don't
see him in your
understand
field?
that.
Understandably so, Even with a tough-made shot by a teammate, Wembanyama often looks visibly frustrated with the Spurs constantly missing him open in advantageous positions. So much so that he's even showed them what's possible after they've missed such a pass.
Who's going to give you the kind of effort and intensity you expect to see for a full game when you have
Here's some interesting tracking statistics that bring further insight into the situation. As the primary ball handler, Sochan has naturally passed the ball to Wemby more than any other teammate. For the sake of discussion, let's compare him to Tre Jones, who many fans have suggested should be the Spurs' starting point guard. Sochan has made more passes to Wembanyama than Tre Jones, by significant margins. However, those passes have led to far fewer assists. Interestingly, Wembanyama is shooting a lower percentage from the field when the pass is coming from Jeremy Sochan. Compare that to the efficient shooting he has when the pass is coming from Tre Jones. Most often, the shots that Wembanyama takes following a pass from Sochan is late in the shot clock, often contested and coming off the dribble. Jones, on the other hand, appears to be actively looking for the big man, especially when compared to his other teammates. So, what's the reason for the Spurs' decision to keep Sochan at the point? Well, I guess the argument would be that the Spurs are focused on the future and are prioritizing development, whether that be developing Sochan into a passer and playmaker, or just leaving him at starting point guard to secure a favorable lottery pick as he continues to sabotage the Spurs offense. Perhaps Victor Wembanyama's best passing teammate will come in the 2024 NBA draft. Again, we're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and thanks for watching Basketball Pantheon.